The House panel investigating the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol is preparing to release its final report next week. Questions remain over how much the committee will focus on the federal law enforcement agencies and their response to the insurrection, and if they could have done anything to prevent it. Laura Barone Lopez reports.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
The FBI and Secret Service were warned.
We're coming for you!
But when hundreds stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021, Capitol and D.C. Metropolitan Police were ill-prepared and under siege. As the House's January 6 Select Committee prepares to issue its final report, questions remain about the threats of violence that went overlooked and communication breakdowns among nation's top law enforcement. Senior officials from the FBI, Secret Service, and other top intelligence agencies never testified publicly before the committee across its 9 hearings.
In this report, received on December 26th, a Secret Service field office relayed a tip that had been received by the FBI.
Former FBI agent Tracy Walder said no public accounting with senior intel officials was a mistake.
I think in the final report, what I would really like to see is accountability. I think that's the bottom line, whether it's at the Secret Service or the FBI or local police for not taking some of these threats seriously. And they either need to have new training in place in terms of how to understand some of these threats, or we need to look at creating a federal domestic terrorism statute.
Speaking before a Senate committee in 2021, FBI Director Christopher Wray defended the FBI's actions, but admitted the outcome was impermissible.
I do not consider what happened on January 6th to be an acceptable result. And that's why we're looking so hard at figuring out how can the process be improved.
The committee's report, compiled after months of public and private testimony, is expected to heavily focus on former President Donald Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
We will never concede.
And potentially refer criminal charges to the Justice Department.
President Trump summoned a violent mob and directed them illegally to march on the United States Capitol.
Former Secret Service agent Evie Poumpouras said if bad communication decisions were made, people should be replaced.
You should see this information was passed to this person of this rank, and then what did that person do with that information? You really do need to see names and ranks.
Committee members blasted Secret Service for thousands of missing text messages from the day of the attack, including from members of the former president's security detail. Secret Service said the texts were erased as part of a, quote, device replacement program. The deletion of those messages, the committee warned, could have violated federal records-keeping law.
The Secret Service had advance information more than 10 days beforehand regarding the Proud Boys' planning for January 6th. We know now, of course, that the Proud Boys and others did lead the assault on our Capitol building.
Poumpouras said it's not the Secret Service's job to handle threats like these.
Capitol Police are responsible for the Capitol.
Still, the Secret Service were prominently featured in the testimony by one of the committee's blockbuster witnesses, former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson, who testified that the president wanted agents to remove security measures at the Ellipse rally.
I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take the effing mags away. Let my people in.
Ultimately, Poumpouras and Walder agreed an independent commission, like the one established after 9/11, would have achieved more oversight.
What happened on 1/6 was, for the most part, one of the most violent incidences since really 9/11 on American soil. With 9/11, we did call members of the CIA, to testify. We did call folks that were sort of higher up at the administration levels of these organizations. But for some reason, we are very, very hesitant to do that now.
Lawmakers initially proposed creating such a commission to investigate the causes of the January 6 attack, but Republicans blocked that plan. Now, House Republicans have vowed investigative revenge on Democrats once they take control next month, and some have called for pardoning insurrectionists.
There were some January 6 defendants begging to go to Gitmo because of the D.C. jail. It's awful.
Walder argued that explicit designations for the far-right extremist groups involved in the insurrection, like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, is necessary.
When we correctly label them as domestic terrorists, which is really what their actions are, that puts them into a different box and takes really away from them their ability to sort of create this rallying cry around the word patriot.
Still, she and others fear answers and accountability for the nation's top law enforcement agencies may never come.
And the reality is it's unfortunately going to take another attack for something to be done, because that's what's going to continue to happen if there's no accountability.
The Select Committee is set to release the findings of its investigation into the deadly attack on the Capitol on Monday. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Laura Barone Lopez.
Late today, an FBI spokesperson said the agency had provided private briefings and interviews to the Select House Committee. And the Secret Service said that they provided, quote, unwavering cooperation to all oversight efforts, adding that the committee determines what to make public. For live coverage of the January 6th committee's public meeting on Monday, join us beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on PBS and online.